Okay, let's do a Grateful Dead story time here. This one's gonna be a little different because I don't have a ticket stub for this one, or a poster, or even a story, or a memory. So yesterday, I had a lot of driving to do, and I like to sometimes go on the Re-Listen app and pick a show from that day in history. I chose the Grateful Dead yesterday. I'm gonna listen to 613, and I saw the options, and I saw 1987 Ventura Fairgrounds. Like, oh, that's not like I'm a sucker. My favorite era of Dead is late 80s, big stadium, big sound. Sometimes I'm in the mood for the Pigpen stuff. Sometimes I'm in the mood for the Donna stuff. But for me, like 87 to 91, the Bruce Hornsby years I really like as well, because that's when I jumped in. So I choose to listen to Ventura. We're all familiar with 1972, the naked guy during Birdsong, and Dark Star into El Paso, and All the Lost Children. I knew there was another one, 87. I probably have listened to it before, but I didn't remember listening to it. So I put that one on, so I think. Not paying too much attention. Hell in a Bucket, Road Jimmy. When it comes to Minglewood Blues, Bobby's like, it's tea right here in Seattle, where the little girls know what to do. Like these Northwest girls know what to do. Like, oh, he's not getting it wrong twice. I've got it wrong. So I had somehow put on June 13th, 1994 in Seattle. And so like, well, I'm gonna let this one go. Probably wouldn't be my first choice, but I let it go. And interestingly, like I did, like, so it's basically a standard 1994 set. Hell in a Bucket, Road Jimmy, Minglewood Blues, Tennessee Jed, Queen Jane, into Birdsong. Good Birdsong. I'm not a huge Birdsong guy. I'd much rather, like, I don't want to get tripped out, and like I like, you know, the boogie down shit. But this was a really good aggressive Birdsong. It goes out there, and it's really good. Into Promised Land, and they sometimes mail that one in. They don't mail this one in. They jam this one out. Good. Okay. Good first set. Second set. I never look at the set list before I listen to the show. I just kind of experience this happening. They go into Scarlet Fire, and this is when I decided I'm going to talk about this show, because this Scarlet Fire was fire. Very extended, totally rocking. Like, this is a really good Scarlet Fire. So good that when they go into Carina, I wasn't even mad about that. I would have been mad about that, or disappointed in that back in the day, but like, okay, Carina, it was of its time. Into Terrapin, which reminded me why we were still in 1994. Jerry gets lost. He flubs the lyrics at the beginning. He never really seems to gather himself until the end. They do finish it off. You know, it's like falling off the high beams in the Olympics, and then land and making the landing at the end. They do land it, but it's a really rough start, and it reminds me, ooh, 1994 was that way sometimes. But one thing about that Terrapin was, you know, when they break da 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 da, they at the end it's breaking down, and they keep going over, and it keeps breaking down a little bit more. They make that real quick, and it goes into drums, and it just says jam here, and so there was something to this. The band stays out there, and they're it's like drum space, but with, like, those guys are jamming, and it's not like a jam like we're dancing, but it was a weird thing, and it was actually pretty cool. I was listening, like, this is actually pretty cool. Very drum heavy. All the bands out there jamming. They go into drums, do the regular drum, and in space, regular space. You know, I do, like, when I do this now, I let the drums in space go. Back in the day when I had a cassette, when it was a lot harder to get through drums, it was a push of a button I can get through, but I do the space. Into Miracle. I Need a Miracle. I know what's funny is Bobby is off. He goes into I Need a Woman About Twice My Age right up, and like the rest of the band's not ready, and so he stops, and then you hear the crowd cheer, and like, because this, you know, we've seen this 100 times. Bobby fuck up and get it wrong, and they keep jamming, and they start it over again, and it's really funny. It's funny when Bobby does it. It wasn't funny when Jerry did it. You know, now that in hindsight, not knowing what we know now. Into Morning Dew. Now, two songs of space, Morning Dew. Like in the '80s, Morning Dew could have been in the Jerry Ballad spot. They did Morning Dew and into something else. So I thought, is that what they're doing here? But no, Morning Dew was the closer. You could tell it was a closer. It was a really good Morning Dew. Like they jam, the Jerry's jam at the end. It was fantastic. You could tell it was a climax, bang. Like, you know, would have killed them throwing a love light after that or something like that. You know, no. But in '94, two songs after space, good Morning Dew, and then the encore was U.S. Blues, which I always prefer, probably because it was the Jerry ballad closer into a more upbeat encore. I always like that. That was my surprise, and didn't mean to, listening to a '94 show. I'm kind of glad I did, and so I thought I'd talk about it here. Were you there? Did I get it right? Did I get the vibes right? I would love to hear if you were there. Seattle Memorial Stadium, 6/13/94. Give me your thoughts. Thanks.